so I was like, ladies and gentlemen, bring him to the stage, the one and only Ronnie Brooks.
Thank you, Tommy. See you, my brother.
Remember, I used to always say, carrying the torch.
Yeah.
The Chicago Blues legacy.
Yeah, I'm trying my best, man.
That was the name of one of your records, right?
The Torch, yeah.
The Torch, yeah. I knew I didn't make that up myself.
Yeah, that's one of my albums.
Folks, Ronnie and I have been friends for a long time, and it's one of my most, valued relationships over the years. And this show could go on for like 6 or 8 hours just talking about all this stuff. And we're going to try to have to wrangle it into around an hour, hopefully at the most. But this is my TV show, so I can do whatever I want, and it could be as long as I want. So
you go.
We're gonna take our advice from Elvin Bishop and keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh. Shout out to Elvin Bishop, man.
Oh man, Elvin. He was one. How when I was a kid, Elvin Bishop was my idol, and I used to wear overalls to school.
Hey man, I think the thing that draws me and you together, we have similarities in idols, man, because you love Elvin, I love Elvin. You love Albert Collins, I love Albert Collins. You love Taj Mahal, I love Taj Mahal. Yeah. And you love Buddy Guy, and I love Buddy Guy. And I think all of that kind of, that similar vibe we pick up from each other, man. And I feed off that, when I play with you, man. I feed off of that.
Yeah, being a kid from California, just listening to Chicago blues records and stuff like that, and then to get to actually work alongside of guys like you who grew up in it, it did a lot for me, because I realized that we do have that musical connection just from listening to the records, man. And in your case, from being around the people. Yeah. I felt like, it gave me it made me feel a little bit more legitimate about, what I do, because basically guys like me, I didn't go to music school or get music lessons. I listened to records and tried to figure things out on my own. And It's a hard way to go, but if you love it, you stick with it and do the best you can. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, it's been a great. I've learned a lot from you. In fact, I'm going to show everybody a couple of things that I've learned from Ronnie on the guitar after a while. But let's first of all, let's congratulate you on your new album. That record is fantastic. It's very, very possibly your best record overall. Even though I have a couple of really favorite songs of yours from past records, like See You Hurts No More. I heard that, just listened to that the other day can't remember how it came up, but man, you nailed that thing.
Thank you, Tommy.
In the studio, man, it sounded so fresh and real and live.
A lot of it was recorded live, man. Shout out to the band, and that was what I'm understanding. One of the last pieces of work that the late great Jim Gaines did, and we had the Memphis guys down there, man, and I had worked with them on previous records of mine, and so we had a repertoire already. They knew me, I knew them, and I just brought it in. I knew what to expect, and I knew what they could do, and a lot of that stuff was live, especially like Stuck on Stupid. We cut that, we redid that. I cut that on my Gold Digger album. Right. So, I was talking to Bruce Iglar, and he was like, "Man, we need a slow blues," and I suggested doing it all over, Stuck on Stupid. He's like, "Yeah." So we get into the track, man. Jim Gaines waited to the last part of the night, the last song to do it, and he said, "Let's do the slow blues." And we jumped into it, man, and it was feeling so good. I thought the song was about 4 or 5 minutes long. When he stopped, he said, "Man, that's about 8 minutes." I was like, what? I said, well, ain't no way in the world we're going to have a record on, one song on the record for 8 minutes, so we got to edit it,
Yeah.
He said, don't know, Ronnie. I like it the way it is. I said, I know Bruce ain't gonna like it, man, because we got to put all these other songs on the record. So we did an edit version and we sent it to Alligator, Bruce. He was like, well, I dig it, but I like to hear the whole thing, you know. And I sent it the full track, and he's like, I love that. Let's leave it like it is. And I was like, yes. But I was shocked that it was close to 8 minutes long, man. We were just vibing. Those cats really great musicians, man. I was honored to work with Jim again. And, you know, I'm honored that to be back on Alligator Records. You know, a lot of my first of everything professional was from the platform that my father, Lonnie Brooks, and Alligator built. Right. And I got to learn a lot from being under that umbrella. You know, we got to do tours with some of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I got to rub shoulders with these people. The first time I ever sung was on a record was with my dad on Alligator. The first song I ever wrote was on Alligator. The first record I ever played on was on Alligator. So it was a lot of firsts, you know, and during the pandemic, I had time to think. We all did, you know, and this was the first major thing that I had to go through without my father, you know, and he would always tell me that, you know, be cool, Ronnie. You know, Tommy, I love this music so much, man. As a kid, I didn't know how to control my passion.
Right.
You know, you love it so much and you have so much emotion. You can't do business with emotion. You gotta do business,
especially when it's in your family and it's in your blood. You know.
Yeah.
You grew up. I mean, it's in your DNA, literally. I know that's the song, but that is actually a true thing. Your father was a blues man with an amazing history and career from Louisiana to Chicago, and you know, that's all in you.
Yeah.
So you would be passionate about it to the extent that, you know, you would put it above all else, you know, whatever else is going on around. You got to put that music first, and I know how you feel about that.
I had to learn how to compartmentalize it, man, because it was so strong on me, especially young, man. I was trying to live up to be the son of, and the great Albert Collins. We were in LA, man, at the Music Machine. I don't know if you remember the Music Machine. It was this Santa Monica, I believe.
No, I never saw that one.
We were playing there, and Albert Collins came by to see us. Man, I'm on stage, man. I'm messing up, man, making frowns. And Albert put me. I had to be like 19, something like that. Albert pulled me to the side. He said, "Come here, son. Changed my life, man. This is for real." He said, "Come here." Pulled me to the side, man. This me and him. He said, "Man, you could play, but you up there frowning when you make a mistake. I make mistakes all the time. I smile. When you up there frowning, you're killing your own vibe." And when he said that, man, it's like, whoa. It just clicked. And then he said, "Look, you're not going to be Lonnie Brooks. You're not going to be me. You take what you like from us and you make it you." And man, I'm telling you, Tommy, that moment, it took a ton of bricks off me because I was trying to live up to be, you know, Lonnie Brooks' son. It was a lot of pressure, you know, and it still is, but I learned how to deal with it. But I understood what he said because my father would say the same thing. But when you hear from someone like Albert Collins too, it just really like, and I was like, man, and it took the pressure off, and I started to grow musically. I started to learn more, and it took, you know, some of that pressure of me trying to nail it every night and trying to be perfect, you know. And you know, the blues is, it's an emotional thing, but you got to play what you feel. But if you don't feel it, you can't make the people feel it.
Right.
You got to feel it, man. And I learned how to compartmentalize that. And so during the pandemic, I had time to think, man. And you know, JB, shout out to my manager, John Bonsamito. I know you know JB.
I know JB. We go way back.
Yeah, he's like, "Ronnie, you know, I did this record. I did an acoustic record with Big Head Todd. You know, I got it in a can now." And he co-produced it with me. And You know, I was thinking
Oh,
about
that
putting the
sounds
album
great.
out. Yeah, I was thinking about putting it out during the pandemic. He said, man, I think you should hold up. And because we were coming out of the pandemic, he said, man, Bruce would like to have a meeting with you, Bruce Iglar. And I was like, well, I got my own label, man. You know, he said, no, think about this, man. Let's, you know, and I had time to think. And all of that came back, the first album, first writings, first everything. And I went to my mom, man. And my mom was ill. My mom was ill at the time. And I told her, I said, Bruce would like to talk with me about doing a record. And she got up out of her bed and stood up like in the bed and said, I think you should talk with him. At least hear what he got to say. He did some great things with your dad. I was like, whoa. I didn't think of it like that, Tommy. You know? So I said, okay. I went on
Wow.
and had the meeting, and Bruce said some things to me that I had never heard before. I said some things to him that he had never heard before. And I said, look, man, if we do this, let's do it for the love of the blues. Because I know you love it. You've been doing it for over 50 years. I love it. I've proven that, you know, by starting my own label, doing everything myself, along with my mom and, you know, help of others, you know, several people helped me, that I'm true to this. I love this music. So let's do it for the love of the blues. And that's what happened, man. That's how we came to make this record.
Okay, man, everything worked out perfectly, and I'm so glad to hear that. That that process was, it sounds like you were able to work. The pandemic was a horrible thing, but a lot of good things came out of it. Like everything in life, you got your yin and your yang.
Yeah.
You know, with the good comes the bad, and with the bad comes the good. And through the pandemic, there were a lot of things that happened that wouldn't have probably happened otherwise.
Yeah.
Me and Deanna, for one thing. You know, we'll talk some more about that. But that all happened.
Congratulations, man.
By the way, yes, I'm a married man,
I
and
feel bad that I wasn't there. I was there in spirit, but I wasn't there on the cruise with you guys, man. But I'm so happy for both of you because you know I love you both, man. And we toured together. I never saw it. I
but
never saw it coming.
other people did though.
I guess because I'm in it with you guys. We in the music circle, you know,
Yeah.
and we all like that. You know what I mean? When we playing, we all like that, you know, with the love and the compassion and all of that, you know, and respect. So I didn't see it like that, you know what I mean, until later. But of course, I'm so happy for you guys, man. Congratulations to Deanna. I'm giving her my best as well, and many years of love and happiness, brother, and good music.
Well, thank you, man. That is such a long story. I could go on and on about Deanna. I mean, there's no one, literally nobody like her anywhere
No,
on the planet.
no,
And I feel very fortunate to be the guy. She had many offers over the years, and but that's one of the things that came out of the pandemic.
yeah,
It was all kinds of interesting stuff came out. You and Bruce had a chance. You had a chance to think this through,
yeah,
and take the opportunity. And I always felt it would be a good fit for you. And I know our sister Shamika was also in your
yeah.
ear. Going, man,
Shamika,
you need to talk to Bruce. And
yeah. You,
but
Shamika, and Coco Montoya, man. You know,
and Coco too.
yeah, Coco Montoya, yeah.
That says a lot, right?
I know.
Because
That
if
helped me get over the mountain too, man, because I know Coco's passionate about it too, man. All of us are, but I just, you know, being in it with my father, I saw some things and that things happen. And I remember talking to Kev Moore about this. He's like, Ronnie, because my father been through a lot of like bad stuff, man, back in the 50s, man, where they just took everything from him. And I carry that. It's in my DNA too. You
yeah,
know, so I'm like, I'm not gonna let that happen to him, man. And that was part of my thing that got in the way a little bit. You know, my father would always tell me, man, hey man, I know what I'm doing, Ronnie. And I always was like, and when he passed away, man, when my father passed away, Bruce was the first person I told. And
Wow.
my mother, I was talking to mom, and she said, you know, it would be nice if Bruce would speak at the funeral.
Wow.
And I think you should be the one to call him and ask. And I said, okay, I agree. I agree. And I called him, and he was shocked. He's like, yeah, I would be honored. And he spoke at the funeral. And I remember standing by the body, man. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said, Bruce, I apologize for all of the turmoil we went through. It was all because of the love of this man we standing in front of right now. I loved him, and I was probably out of place, but I was trying to protect him and be that whatever he needed. Because, you know, my father at the time, Bruce was managing my dad, booking him at one time. He was managing, booking, and the record company. He was doing everything. And sometimes that,
You're not supposed to do that,
yeah,
but that
sometimes,
was done. You
yeah.
know.
But at the time, you know, he needed it. He had to do
And the
what he had
Chess
to do.
Brothers were managing Muddy, you know,
Yeah,
and you're not supposed to do that, but it did happen, especially in, I guess, in
yeah.
blues.
So it, you know, at that moment was started the start of this actually because you know I got to talk to him uncandidly and straight from the heart and you know it's a lot of history there at Alligator, man. They did a hell of a job, and a shout out, as you know, a shout out to his staff, man.
Oh my
That
God.
staff is
Yeah.
amazing. I grew up with some of them. I remember them when they first got there. I remember some of them that's you know no longer working there. They're still doing stuff in the business, and I saw that growth. I saw that growth, and Bruce is a workaholic, but that team is amazing as well, man.
Yeah, they do deserve a lot more credit. You know, the people behind the scenes, nobody knows who they are,
Yeah,
but they've been on the job, some of them for about 30, maybe even more than 30 years. You
yeah.
know, and so that says a lot.
Bill that works in the warehouse, he's been there over 50 years, man. Yeah. I remember Bill as a kid, as a little kid, man. And when I did the CD release party here in Chicago, he was in the front row with a suit on. I had never
Oh,
seen Bill with a suit on before because he was always in the warehouse working. And he came to the gig, man. The whole staff, just about the whole staff came to the gig. And he was in the front, almost in tears, and they almost had me in tears. And I was like, Bill, he said, man, I just love your dad. And I'm so happy that you were part of it now, you know. It was a special moment, man. And shout out to all that entire staff. Yeah, shout out to them.
man, I'm really happy for you, all of you. I, uh, and you
Thank
know,
you.
while we're on the subject of records, I know you Jelly Bean Johnson
Yeah,
produced one or two records with you.
three.
Oh, three.
My first three albums.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. We lost Jelly Bean on the 21st of November, 2 days after his birthday. November 19th was his birthday, is his birthday. And I got a call, man. I was at a gig. I was playing with Billy Branch. Billy Branch just released his new album.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I wrote a song, co-wrote a song with him on there with Larry, and helped arrange a couple of other songs, or one or two other songs. And so,
You guys are great together. When you guys
yeah,
play together, it's
yeah,
a natural thing, man. It's
yeah.
powerful.
Billy's my big brother too, man. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. It was a crazy night because I was there helping him celebrate with him, and he asked me to jam and whatever. And I got the call about Jelly Bean on my way getting on the stage.
Oh,
And I was like, wait a minute. And when I got it, they were hysterical. So I was like, okay, maybe they just emotional right now, and you know he's gonna be okay. And when I got off the stage, I got a text from Morris Day, and Morris Day said he's gone. And I had to leave because I didn't want to spoil Billy's CD release, album release, you know. So
yeah.
I had to sneak out, man, and get to the house, and I was still in like disbelief because he just celebrated his birthday, man, and being like my big brother. He is my big brother, man. He when I decided to do this as a solo career, he helped me, man. He pulled me up, man. I was gonna, do the record. He's like, "Babe, bro," the producer I had pulled out on me. He said, I just called him the vent. Hey man, the producer pulled out, man. I got everything scheduled and flights, and he said, man,
Oh,
get,
that's how it happened.
yeah,
Wow.
that's how it happened.
Wow.
True story, brother. True. I just don't talk about it, but the producer pulled out on me at the last minute, and I called Bean Vinton. He said, "Babe, bro, I'll do it. Give me a flight to Memphis." I said, "What?" And I didn't know, Jelly Bean produced Janet Jackson's big hit, Black Cat, one of her first number one singles ever, biggest songs ever. He produced Mint Condition, R&B group, New Edition, R&B group, a lot of R&B. Nona Hendrix, Alexander O'Neal, hits, man. I'm talking about million sellers. I didn't know until recent, not too long ago, that this was the first time he produced a blues record. So it clicked when he told me, because I remember him being very nervous when we started recording. He's like, "Man, I hope your dad don't be mad at us."
This is gonna be a little different kind of blues.
Yeah, yeah. No, my dad's kind of open-minded, man, because we had some rockers on there too. The first
Oh
album,
yeah.
we had some rockers on there, and I'm like, I know my dad's kind of open. So when Dad came down, and Dad sitting in the back listening, and I saw Dad patting his feet, I was like, "We all right, Bean?" And Bean was like, "Phew," because man, when I did Jackson, Joe Jackson came to me and said, "Man, I don't want y'all having my daughter sounding like Prince." So man, that brother helped me, man. It helped build my confidence in songwriting. It helped build my confidence in performance in the studio. It taught me how to produce records. I ended up learning how to produce through Jelly Bean. That's just tremendous loss for me, man. I send my love and prayers to his family, his lovely kids, man. His loved ones, Marty, all of them, man. It's a big loss, especially the band. More than the original. He's an original member of the time. You
Yeah.
know,
Great.
Terry
Great guy.
Lewis, Jimmy Jam, Jesse Johnson, Monty
Yeah.
Moria, Jerome Benton.
He's a legend. He's a
Yeah,
legend in
iconic band.
Minneapolis, especially. I mean, they have they're famous for artists like Prince and many others, but Jelly
Yeah,
Bean Johnson is as well known in that circle as anyone. And he's I remember I got to meet him a couple times. He came on the cruise
yeah,
with you, right? And you know I didn't know that much about his history. I knew about the time. I heard the records, and it was just there were just one act and millions of R&B acts that were on the scene at the time. And I remember not just knowing that much about who he was or anything. I just remember that guy could play the hell out of the guitar. I didn't even know he was a drummer.
yeah.
He was the drummer, and he played guitar as good as anybody I ever heard. And his show, his vibe on stage was infectious.
Yeah.
And when he said, when he introduced, I don't know how we met, but I got a really good feeling. He's not one of those guys that made everybody feel the same. They're on his level or not. It didn't seem to matter to him. That people are people. I got that feeling from him that he was just a good, positive, big-hearted guy, and with
That's
all
it.
that talent.
That's
Yeah.
it. Big hearted, man. Look, this guy played on the Grammys in front of 60 million people. He done made million selling records. He been on major tours with Prince, and he would get in the van with me and play a club that's in the alley and help move the gear and all that. I was like, "Man, I got it, man." "No, baby, bro, you in it, I'm in it." That's how it was, man.
That's
He just
fantastic.
loved to
It's
play.
so good to know that stuff.
He loved to play. He loved the people, seeing the people happy, man. And a quick story, he went on tour with me, man, for a while, and we were headed up to Canada, and the drummer I had at the time couldn't cross the border for some crazy. It wasn't nothing he really did. It was just some kind of paperwork that they couldn't clear up enough time. So we got across the board, and I was like, maybe I can talk to the opening band's drummer or whatever. He's like, and Bean was like, babe, bro, no, I do it. I was like, what? He said, yeah, I play. I said, well, I'll tell myself, I said, well, you produced the record, you know all the songs.
Yeah, he'd be the best guy to sub on the drums.
And man,
Wow.
we got through the gig. Of course, it was different because he come from a, that 2 and 4, R&B thing, where
Yeah.
the blues, we got that shuffle, we got to have that, but the backbeat was there, the vibe was there, man. And finally at the end of the show, he said, man, you're the only band that I play drums with other than the Time and the Family. He was in a big group called the Family too. And I was like, whoa, I'm honored, he's because he would never play drums with anyone else. He would play guitar with everybody. Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Well,
big, man. I'm gonna miss him, man. It's
yeah, I'm
still
really
fresh.
sorry for your loss, Ronnie. I know that was an important person in your life, and we.
Yeah,
And
but the
on a
music,
note, go
but
ahead.
the music is a healer, brother. The
Well, there
music
you
is a
go.
healer because I went through this before. You never get used to it, but you learn how to adapt and keep moving forward. I went through this with my dad. After he passed 2 days, I couldn't sleep. And he came to me and said, son, do your show. And I did my show, and it was the best thing for me. When my mom passed, I was in Kansas City at Knuckleheads. I got the call at 8:30. I had to be on stage at 9.
Oh
And
man.
I did the show. I didn't tell nobody that my mom had passed. It was crazy, man, because Danielle, Nicole, and all of them was backstage. Everybody was having a good time. And I just pulled Roger Neighbor to the side, and I told Roger, and I said, I got to go play. And it was the best thing for me. I mean, you think about it, but it gives you something to go to other than that, And I played, man. It didn't really hit me hard until I got back to the hotel room. But other than that, man, I know for a fact the music is a healer, and that's what I'm gonna do to get through this. And the notes means a little bit more now because being was very, very important in my growth and my loved one, man. So shout out to Jelly Bean, rest in peace.
I know what happens. I've lost people over the years, and or had there's things that have come up that I've had to deal with, but the show must go on, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it as a healing thing. Just I got to do it. I got to go to work, and deal with my personal stuff after. But when you're playing, after a situation like that, everything that you play is deeper.
Yeah.
It has more meaning to it because you realize, just how it's really hard to explain to someone who doesn't play music as much as we do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for people who play, part time or for fun or as a hobby as it does for us who we eat because of this music. We
Right.
raise our kids and
Right.
and everything happens around this music, and it's a lifeline. And
Right.
so and it is why I call my band the Painkillers.
Yeah. Great names. True, man.
This woman came up to me one time. She's in a wheelchair, and she said she'd been to see us a bunch of times. I recognized her, and I was just signing the CD and saying hello. And she said, Tommy, your music is a painkiller. And she goes, I have chronic pain, and when we have to go on a drive, that's the worst. Getting in the car is painful for me. And I always tell my husband, put on Tommy Castro.
Wow. Wow.
So I remember that just hit me pretty good.
Man, quick story, bro, on what we talking about. Similar to when I put out Gold Digger, my first record back in 1997, 98, somewhere around there. I had an opening slot at a festival. I was opening for Coco Taylor. And man, I did my set and I had this long line of people for autographs. And this little teenage girl, she was about 16, and her mom used to come and follow us. When I was playing with my dad, they would come follow us all around Chicago. We would play a lot of villages around Chicago, townships, and they would have their own festival, and we would play a lot of them around Chicago back in the day, back in the 90s and the 80s and the 90s. And
yeah, those are good gigs.
yeah, you remember those gigs. And,
Yeah.
and man, they would follow us, and her mother would bring her, man, she loved the blues. She was turning her daughter on to it. And I noticed them, and I noticed the girl was crying and the mom was tearing up. I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She said, I need to talk with you. I said, well, give me a minute. Let me finish this and we'll talk. So we got done. And she said, Ronnie, I want to thank you because your song turned a bad into a positive, saved my life. I was like, what do you mean? She said, I was contemplating on committing suicide. And I just played your song over and over and over and over and over. And it pulled me out of my depression. And I just wanted to thank you. And she gave me a teddy bear, man. I still have it. And she signed it. And she had a collage of pictures that from her mom had took from over the years, man. And I was like, man, all these awards we can get, it's beautiful because it's great to be acknowledged amongst your peers. But that, when you can touch someone's life through the music, it's bigger than any award you can ever get from this industry, man. So that's the thing I hold on to, Tommy, when things, as you know, in this business is up and down. When it's down, those things, because like now going through this with Jelly Bean, this music is a healer, and it's a healer for me. I just recognized it was a healer for me as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've. Oh man, I had a thought and I lost it. So that's all right. We got plenty of other things to talk about. But that song, "You Can't Keep a Good Man Down." I've had dozens of men come up to me and tell me I was going through a court battle with custody with my kids, and I was dying. I was on chemo and all kinds of things. And that song stuck with me and just helped me just to get through. And just about the time, every once in a while now, I turned 70 this last year, and I'm tired. I love what I do, but it's getting harder, And every once in a while, the idea of like normal people, when they get to our age, they retire, and do other things besides their work. And the thought crosses my mind, and then something like that. I'll talk to somebody in the audience, and I'll get a story like that. And it just stops me in my tracks, and I realize I ain't never gonna stop doing this.
And even if you try,
like John Lee Hooker and B.B. King and Buddy Guy and everybody else, I'm gonna keep on playing until I can't play anymore. And I know you will too.
That's the gift, man. As long as I'm healthy, when I saw Albert Collins and my dad play here in Chicago at the Kingston Mines, man, Albert was hotter than a firecracker, man. He had that. Showdown. The Showdown album had won a Grammy. He was doing videos with Bruce, commercials with Bruce Willis. He was in a TV show, Adventures of Babysitting. He was hot.
He was getting airplay on rock and roll radio all over the country.
Yeah, he came to Chicago and sat in with my father, man. And at the time, I was just roadieing for my dad, And this was before the LA thing when he told me, you killing your own vibe. This is when I said I wanted to do this, man. Him and my dad, it was like a Texas shootout, Tommy. I'm telling you, man, I literally saw fireworks coming from the guitars, man. That was the one thing about Albert Collins, man. He brought the best out of everybody, man. He made everybody better, man. That moment, man, he was just, you could feel the vibe in the room just going up out this roof, man. And he looked over at me, man, and he looking at Daddy, he looking at me, man. I'm on the side, And I'm like, look at this, man. And my father, it was like, my father always was in cruise control, man. But certain people, like Albert Collins and BB, Daddy, Gatemouth Brown was another one. He just stepped that game up a little bit higher, man. And that night, man, it was like Joe Frazier and Ali, man. And I'm standing on the side, and I said, just like in the movie, the Blues Brothers, when they went
Yeah.
to the church and they said, "I've seen the light," you know, they started doing the flips. I said, "Man, God, if you keep me healthy, this is what I want to do the rest of my life, man." And ever since then, that's what I've been able to do, man. And the grace of God. So I can't quit, man. I'm stuck on stupid.
Ronnie, you know, I've said this to you many times, so and to other people. You're such a great performer, and when you don't. I mean, you give up everything you got on stage. I think I try to do the same, but there's a certain level of ability that you have on all fronts. Your guitar playing, you're singing, and showmanship, and the sincerity that comes across. And man, you put you in a place, something like the Legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise, where there's like 35 top acts, in the world.
Yeah.
To get on that ship. It's a hard gig to get, and only the best really get a chance to go on there. And you will always, just kind of be at the top of the shows. You'll always be and I see it in the audience. I know how I feel about you when I hear you, and but I watch the people, when I talk to the people, and the people are so, so I mean, you definitely made the right choice for a career.
Well, thank you, brother. Now, I really appreciate those kind words, Tommy. We all love this music, man. I see you. I always say you Mr. Consistent, man. If you see Tommy Castro's name, it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be Mr. Consistent. And I can't say whenever I saw you, you had a bad show, man. It was always because you always hit the mark, man. And see, that's the ultimate professional when you can live up to the hype and hit the the nail on the head, man. And you've done that thus all the time I've known you, man.
I'm
And
still
that's
here. That's the thing that's amazing to me.
and you
I
and,
think about, damn, I'm still here. And
yeah,
I use that thing that you talk about, Albert Collins did, uh, when things aren't going great for me, I just I paste on a smile.
yeah,
And, that's, I do that because I don't want to bum anybody else out, and I don't want to bum myself out, and I want to stay positive through these things. It's hard to do because inside my head,
yeah.
you don't want to know what's going on inside there. But my natural reaction is to put on a smile and let's keep going forward. Try not to think about what happened that threw me off the track.
There's two things I want to say, man, that was very important that you did for me, man. First one was allowing me to go on that Legendary Rhythm and Blues Revue tour. We did the land cruise on land, and we recorded that record together. And
Oh, that's right. Yes, we made a
man,
record.
hey, at the time I started Watchdog Records. I was doing everything myself. I didn't have the team around me like I do now. And you had a fan base and have a fan base that was strong and consistent fan base. Like Todd, look at Todd. They got a consistent fan base. And you allow me to be in front of that audience. And it helped my momentum. It helped me keep the machine going, especially without a major record company behind me. Man, I was doing everything grassroots, Tommy, at the time, man.
Yeah, that's hard work, man. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
everything. I mean, from writing the songs, making the albums, to at the time physical mailing lists, no email lists, a physical. We was mailing out flyers and all of that. So we would getting on that tour with you helped me tremendously, man. And secondly, we was on the blues cruise. I don't know if you know this. We was on the blues cruise, man, and I have a lot of respect for all of you. You, Deanna, and MD Magic Dick. We were doing the review, and it was right after my father passed. And the night before on the cruise, I did a show that I had dedicated to Dad. And I'm gonna tell you, I was exhausted after the show. I literally put it all out that night. And I went back to the cabin, took all my clothes off, and just sunk in the bed, man. I couldn't even get up to go take a shower, man. I was so exhausted. And I was like, damn, I got to play with Tommy and Deanna and MD at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. How am I going to do this, you know? So I was like, man, I got to get through this. I got to get through it because I'm still mourning. I'm still thinking about that. And I played all these songs. It just brought back memories, man. I'm just literally, like, mentally, physically, everything exhausted. So we get on the stage, me and you. It was my turn to come up. And I hit this slow blues. I didn't even know what I was going to do. And I just hit a slow blues. And I don't know if you knew this or not. You just looked at me and you put your guitar down and walked off the stage. And it gave me room, Tommy, to let it go, man. Because if you would stayed there, I would have held back because I'm trying to work. You know how we do when we work together. Because I'm trying. I don't want to.
There's a lot more to think about.
Yeah, and I don't want to step on no toes and nothing. I want to, make it a show like we've done previously. But at that time, I didn't have it. I didn't have the bullets, man. It was all or nothing. And I think you felt it, man. It's a video on YouTube, and you just looked at me. You said, "Well, shit, I'm gonna get down."
Well, I know what goes on in my mind in a situation like that. I'm thinking, Ronnie sure as hell doesn't need me.
Well,
There's nothing I'm going to be able to add to this because I could see, you had something you had to do, and you would be probably more comfortable with your normal instrumentation anyway, without having the added guitar. You got to think when you have two guitars on stage, who's going to do what, and who's not going to do what, and that. So you just could do your usual bit and just be yourself, and of course you slayed.
And at that time, I needed to let that go, man. And I'm gonna tell you, it was like I let it go, and I felt better, man. It's like a release. It was like a release because I was, holding that grief in and all of that in, man. And then it just, because you know how you do. We all do this. We have to schedule a show. We got to think about what we're gonna do and
plan. Set list.
And sometimes you just gotta just play, man. You just gotta let it go. And I did, man. It's like, and when you walked off, it's like, oh, well, I can just play now. And it was like, thank you. And then we came back up, and of course we did the encore. What's the song? Looking for Love.
Oh yeah. Oh God. We always used to end those shows with "Looking for Love" by the Jay Giles Band version.
Yeah.
Bobby Womack song. But we always did that Jay Giles version because Magic Dick. Were you a big fan of the Jay Giles Band as I was? I mean,
yeah, I remember watching them I remember talking to MD about this. I remember watching them on MTV, man.
Do you remember? You weren't like you're younger than me.
Yeah.
Actually, you're quite a bit younger than me, right? Like
I'm 50. I'll be 59 next month.
Yeah, so you're like 11 years younger than me. So when that puts us in a different radio, era. And so when I was a teenager, Jay Giles Band first couple albums came out, and that's in my opinion, that's the shit. The stuff they did later on that got it made them more famous and rich and good music, but the songs that they did early on, I mean, that was more, it was a combination of blues and soul music.
Yeah.
Influence of rock and roll, and they just had all of those elements of everything I liked was in that music. And so to get to play with Magic Dick, I said, man, can we do some Jay Giles songs? He said, yeah, 'cause he doesn't sing much. He sings a little, but that's not his thing. His thing is the harmonica. So he let me do some Jay Giles songs. And I could do a pretty good Peter Wolf.
You do a great job with it, man.
It's one of my influences, one of my big influences.
Yeah, I came in when they were
fun
MTV.
shows.
I came in on the MTV movement, when they hit the MTV.
Centerfold.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Used to play that bit sometimes,
Yeah, I did.
we bring them on stage. Wow.
Yeah, shout out to MD, man.
Shout out to MD. If I have anything to say about it, I'm gonna try to get us all back together at least one more time in the near future, if possible, because those were fun shows. I did not realize what I had done. I had the idea. Me, I'm always trying to think of a way to keep business going well.
Yeah.
and I like the fun of on the Blues Cruise when everybody would get together and jam. I've never been in a situation where every night there was a pro jam. And I've been to jam sessions, but you know how it is when you go to jam sessions. It's not a pro jam. It's there's a lot of good players come and go, but this was like all the best players are all on stage right now, and it was amazing, and the people loved it. I was amazed at how they stayed up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and that or in the early days, Jelly Bean would be up there with you guys, and all of those guys from what was that band that backed up Tyrone Davis and
the Platinum Band.
The Platinum Band, yeah. Oh man, and Shamika was up there singing.
Bernard.
And you were saying, you start singing to her "Sweet 16."
Yeah.
and she goes, "That's right." When I first met you, you were Sweet 16.
Yeah.
And she was on stage. She going, "That's true."
But man, back to
man.
that Legendary Rhythm and Blues Revue. I remember the first couple of shows, man, we did. We were playing for 5-hour sets. You remember that, man?
Yeah.
And we had the driver. He was the drummer at the time. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Chris Sandoval?
Sandoval, yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
He was driving. I was like, man,
shout out to Chris Sandoval.
Shout out to Chris. I was like, man, how the hell he gonna get up and drive? He been playing drums all night for 5 hours. Because we were doing 5-hour shows, man. It was crazy, man.
You know why that happened? Because I only had a concept in mind, and it was, since everybody loves these jam sessions, how can we do this on land too, So I asked Roger if he would help support us if we went out and did something called Legendary Rhythm and Blues Revue, and they would help us promote our shows, and we would help promote the Blues Cruise.
Right.
It's a win-win.
Right.
And,
Smart.
And so what I really focused on, the reason that the idea came to me was the jams.
Yeah.
People love to see everybody get together without a plan and just jam. So what we would, we would do these shows, and I go, so everybody will do 30-minute set, and there's 4 of us, so we each do a 30-minute set, and we'll take a break and come back and do a jam. And they also, the thing in there was that on that break, we would tell everybody, don't miss the jam. We're all going to come together and play together now. And so they weren't going to leave. And that meant we were going to sell a lot more merchandise.
Right. And we did.
Oh my God.
It was fun.
Deanna, man, people would just be waiting for Deanna would get caught talking to somebody in the crowd. She would never make it out there to the table. Never makes it out there. And I'd give an announcement. Please don't talk to Deanna until she gets to the merch table. It didn't work. But you would always have a good long line, because a lot of people were discovering you for the first time, and discovering her for the first time, because I think, we were driving this bus with mostly our connections and our fan base and stuff like that, and everybody was contributing, but it was kind of, sadly, we would get to a gig sometimes, and the way the contract came across, somebody looked at it and saw Tommy Castro, and I would just feel like so small when we got to there, and the marquee said Tommy Castro.
Yeah.
So but the point is, a lot of people, and it was making me happy that that my people were getting to experience you and Deanna, and one of my rock and roll heroes, Magic Dick, and the chemistry that we had, all being really pretty much in a little bit different styles. We all had our own different styles, and when we came together, man, it created a thing that I've never experienced anything quite like it since.
And that's why we couldn't stop. That's why I went 5 hours, man.
And
Because
then we'd go 5 hours because it'd start jamming after everybody's 30-minute show.
right.
After the selling CD, they'd come back and jam, and then we didn't feel like we couldn't stop playing.
No, it was incredible, man. And the vibe from the audience, the energy we were getting back, man. It was like a movie, Tommy.
Like the Blues Brothers or something.
It was like a movie, man. Really, like every night, it was like I was like, man, this is like a movie, man. It's like the people were really into it from the soon as we walked in, and from the beginning of the show to the end. We didn't want us to stop. I mean, it was several times we had like 2 or 3 encores, man. Couldn't stop. You know, and I remember one time, I'll thank you another thing you did for me, brother. we played the BMAs, and they were running real late.
Oh,
man.
God.
You remember that, man?
Yes. I got us on there because oh, wow.
I was like, Tommy, man, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We got a gig to do the next morning. We got to get out of here, man, because we was going to leave after the BMAs. I said, man, we got to go. He was like, Ronnie, we can't leave, man. We got to stay here. We committed to this. We got to do it. I was like, man, we're going to be messed up for the gig tomorrow. I'm always trying to think of, ahead, but you were in the moment, like, and it was right what you did, because if we'd have bailed out on them, that wouldn't have looked good on none of us. That wouldn't have looked good. We committed, although they did go overtime.
Way overtime.
Yeah, it was long.
2 or 3 hours over.
And they put us on last, I think, or late, one of the last acts to go up, man. I'm like, and we had a gig to go to. We were leaving.
I think we were the last act.
Yeah.
There's a couple of reasons why that happened, but go ahead, finish your story first.
Yeah, but I was just like, if it was me at the time, probably, I know I wouldn't do it now, but at the time, man, I'm like, man, let's get the hell out of here. We got a gig. We got to get into this next gig.
We had a long drive, like
and
4 or 5 hours drive. Yeah.
The driver up too, man. Like we got to get going, man. And he was like, Ronnie, trust me on this, man. We got to wait it out, man. We can't fail. And we did the show. It was great. People still were there, but it's like, man. And we made the next gig, so it worked, man. But I was like, man, you had the patience of Job, brother.
Well, the truth of the matter is they squeezed us on that show because it wasn't really the way the blues music awards work. Is if the only people that perform are people who are nominated.
Right.
And so the only one that was nominated that year, I think, was Deanna.
Okay.
I think that was it. And so they let us play because we were going to be there anyway. I said, we're going through. We're going to be there. We're on the road. We're stopping through in Memphis so Deanna could be there for her award. And we'd like to, play a couple of songs if we can.
Right.
And they had to get it through Congress, They finally said, okay, do it. And, they were, these were the days when the BMAs were really starting to really reinvent that event and tighten it up and make it better. And that was one of the things they learned from that particular one was that it could go long if somebody's not really on these bands to play their slot and stay in their time slot.
Yeah.
Don't go over. But it was one of those nights where everybody went over, and so it went long, and we oh my God, that was really something, man. But we lived through it.
Great memories, man, with you on stage, blues cruises all around the country. Some great memories, man, that I cherish and always look forward to seeing you guys on the cruise. And I'm going back in January, so we get to do it again. And you got to come up and jam with me, man.
Remember, you guys, you and Magic Dick would always like to have just a little bit of Jack Daniels. Just a little bit, Jack Daniels, just to loosen up a little bit. And those, one night you guys were really having a good time, and maybe you had one more, and you were like you were on stage, and it was time for the jam. We'd come back in on jam mode, and you started saying something about MD, and you were saying, and you were like, Mr. Dick. I mean. like, Mr. Tommy Castro,
Right,
Brooks, Mr. Brooks, Mr.
Hey,
And you went, oh no.
hey, that reminds me, man. That recording we did on, I think I did 19 years old.
Oh my God.
I'm singing the song, man. I didn't realize it, man. I said, well, I think I'll give us some Magic Dick.
And you were saying, because you were going to give
The solo.
the solo to him, right? And that was your thought process, but it came out like that, and we fell out. It's on the record.
It's on the record like that.
It's on the record. It was recorded at Moe's Alley that night.
That's right.
In Santa Cruz, and it's one of the great blues performances of all time. I mean, Ronnie singing, 19 years old, and you don't hear Magic Dick do too many slow blues solos, but man, it was really something.
It felt like it sounded like you in a bar in the South Side of Chicago, man. It was the vibe was thick, and I might have had a couple more glasses of wine that night too.
that record is it's out of that record label doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
There's nobody making those records anymore. It's if you find a copy, it's called Command Performance.
Yeah.
And it's all live on the road recordings, and it surely has its moments, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you. When I met you, you were playing Strats.
Yeah.
And you were playing the hell out of Strats.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't remember when we first went out, I had my super reverb and my Strat and no pedals. That's the way I played for 10 or 15 years. Well, 15 years of my career.
Right.
I played just like that.
Right.
I drove the amp. I had it up around 8 or 10, to get some tone out of it. But I didn't have any effects or anything like that. And I was using a little bit heavier strings.
Right.
This is some old blues, traditional blues guy stuff that I inherited from guys that I knew,
Right.
And so I was kind of committed to it, and it was my thing for a while. But I remember we were sound check, we were on a gig, and in the middle of the jam, for whatever reason, maybe we had somebody else playing on my rig. We used to invite some of the local people up too. And so I went over to yours, I picked up your guitar and played it, and it felt so good. The tone was so awesome. It like almost played itself, and I immediately said to myself, why am I working so hard? And I went out and I started getting into the whole bag of, different amps and guitars. And to this day, I'm still kind of enjoying trying different stuff out. I just put some new pedals on a couple weeks ago, and I'm just home trying them out before we get back out there again. Because it's fun to have that different, listen, it gives you more voices, gives you more color, gives you more, things to do with your sound, so that it's not just one dimensional. I had that one tone all the time, and I'm really glad you opened me up to that. That was the moment that it changed, for better or worse. That was the moment.
I'm sorry, Tommy.
But I wanted to ask you, man, what prompted you to go to Gibson's, and you play that? What's that model? The
336.
336. The smaller body, like 335 style, but with the smaller.
It's almost like a 339. I don't know the difference between the 339 and 336, but when I asked for this, that's what they gave. This is Gibson made this. This is one of one. My friend Chris Stewart got this made for me, and this is one of one. Wow. And 336, and they made this. Put my logo in it. They put my logo in the fret there and inlay. And cool. I don't even know what kind of pickups there are in there.
The ones that came with it. It's the ones that came with it.
Yeah, they just made it, and it felt good. And I was getting ready to do my Times Have Changed album with Steve Jordan, the producer and drummer, the great Steve Jordan, who's currently the drummer of the Rolling Stones right now.
And he produced that.
He produced the record. And I got to Memphis, man. I packed up all my gear in my bus, man. I had Strats, pedal boards, all kind of amps, and he come to the bus. He say, "Well, leave all those strats there, leave all those pedals there, pull out those Fender amps, and get all the Gibsons." And we went to Gibson in Memphis, and they loaned us several guitars there.
Wow.
And I ended up, he asked me to put on some flat wound strings. And I never played like this, Tommy. You know, you saw what I was playing back in the day. I was using strats and pedals. And because, you know, at one time I was doing a 3-piece. I had to cover everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I had different pedals to cover different tones because I didn't want people to get used to one sound with the 3-piece. So, you know, it keep
you
the...
can make it bigger that way,
Yeah.
too, using certain effects.
Yeah, and you keep people's interest. If you get one tone all the time, it can get boring to me personally. So I tried to do different colors with the pedals and stuff. And he's like, "Nah, we don't need that. We making a record with you plugged straight into a guitar. I mean, with a guitar straight into an amp." And see, you know, at first, man, I was like reluctant, like, man, come on, man. But I remember I fell back on a memory I had in San Francisco. I sat in with a band at Biscuits and Blues. And my dad's driver at the time, his name Jesse, he passed away. He was with me. And he said, "Man, the guitar player let me just play his guitar." And he just had it plug straight in, a Gibson plug straight into an amp. He said, "Ronnie, you played the hell out that Gibson, man. That's what you should be playing, you know." I'm like, you know. And I thought about that. When Steve said, "Man, we're gonna play Gibsons, you know, and you know, we're gonna use some humbuckers." And I thought about that, and I said, "Okay." I gave it a shot, man. And when I heard the sound around me sonically, I understood what he was going after.
Yeah.
So it made it a little clearer for me. And then once I started playing it, man, it's like a piece of cake. You can't put it down no more, man.
It's a beautiful tone you got on that record.
Love it. I mean, you know, I love my strats. I used the Strat on the last record, on mostly like rhythm parts. I don't think I did any soloing, maybe one or two, but most of it was for rhythm because that you get that percussion sound with the Strat. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, that
It's a better
yeah,
rhythm guitar sound.
yeah. You can get that thing that cuts through a little bit with the Strats. But as far as playing the blues for me, it's hard to. I mean, I see why B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie King, and all of them use Gibsons, man, because you get that warm tone. It's true. You can't skate as much as you can on the Strat. I mean, you know, you can't skate on the Gibson because you got to be more precise. And that's where I get lost sometimes because I'm so used to the Strat where I can skate or ghost, what we call it, skate or ghost in the note, you know. But with the Gibson, you got to be a little more accurate. But the song, the
Good point. I hadn't thought about that. You're right.
yeah,
But
yeah,
as I'm sitting here with my new Les Paul, I've just been listening to all the guitar players on the last cruise, and for some reason it just kind of came to me that, you know, I like the sound of all the Gibsons better. And
yeah,
so, you know, once again, why am I working so hard? And I hadn't had a Les Paul since the 80s. And so I went out and I went and splurged, got myself this guitar. It's at the end of the year, too, so it's a tax write-off. I use that for excuse. But I'm looking forward to playing it on gigs and stuff, man. And one of the reasons is because, you know, guys like you, I mean, I listen to your tone, and I think, man, you know, I still love my Strat. You know, my old Strat's a part of me. That thing that I got from Nitro years ago, that'll always be part of my music and my show. But
yeah,
I want to be able to add this on certain songs.
yeah.
It would be better, man. But you know, I haven't really done this in a while, but when we were on the road together, I remember a couple of times I asked you to show me something. I'd say, hey, Ronnie, show me a lick, man, you know. And you'd look at me like, all right. You don't want to give up your secrets, but you like me well enough if you could, you know, to help me out a little bit. And so I'm trying to remember. There's a couple of things that I still use almost every time I get on stage, and there's this. It's like
Yeah.
a buddy guy kind of thing.
That's Buddy Guy. Yeah,
Remember that? You
that's
showed me
Buddy
that.
Guy. Yeah, yeah.
You told me, you said, so yeah, get down here like we're gonna play like BB King and
Yep.
that spot, and then
Yep.
it's a beautiful lick, man. And you know, I don't see anybody else using that besides you and me.
Yeah, I use it.
Maybe Buddy.
Buddy does it, man. I remember it reminded me of the Twilight Zone a little bit, you know, like Buddy.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yes.
Yeah, Buddy Guy, man. When he's on,
Oh yeah.
he plays some amazing stuff, man. I was fortunate enough to be around him before he got real famous. You know, I saw him in the early days, not quite like some of people that's older than me, but I caught him in the right time when he was playing the Gill. He got it up on his wall in his club, man. He got a hole in it from where his hand would rest on it and thumb would hit, in the body of the guitar. And he was playing through a Marshall, man. And sometimes he would rock out, man, but then he'd break it all the way down and hit some blues, man. And it was a great contrast, man, because he would go from way up here to soft as a whisper, man, and playing some amazing stuff, man. And I remember hearing him do that lick, man. It's like, whoa, because my father would do a lot of stuff like that too. Like, say if you in A, let me see if I can turn this on. If you in A and you go to the 4 chord, you go to the D position. Then you go to the E. And see, Buddy would do this. I guess I don't know if that comes from Louisiana, but my dad and Buddy had that similar vibe. And I remember him doing that. It's like Twilight Zone. And I picked it up, and I like Albert Collins say, you take what you like and you make it you. Now, I could never play like any of them the way they play, but I try to take what I like and play it and say it the way I feel it. And that's what I would suggest to any guitar player that's coming up. Learn the vocabulary, first of all, and then learn what you want to say. And then now you tell your story in that with that vocabulary you learn. And now that becomes part of you. That's your contribution to it, because there's nothing new out here. You got some great players out here, man, that's playing some amazing guitar and with a different approach. But my dad told me this. Hey, man, we all have our own fingerprint.
Oh.
Ain't nobody beat you at being yourself.
Wow.
See, I got caught up in trying to learn everybody, Albert Collins and BB, and it was times where I was sounding too much like them and not finding myself. You know what I mean?
You do a pretty goddamn dead on Albert Collins, though. And then when you do it, it's a tribute. It's not like, this is what I do. No, you kind of go, this is Albert Collins.
And that's
then you kill it.
that's the seducing part of it, because you can get across of doing it, and it like, oh yeah, I can do it, and you see the people move to it, but then you get caught up in it. And now you don't do you, and I'm still, man, and developing that, because I've seen all of these masters. I was with them. I rubbed shoulders with them, and sometimes it get in my head like you playing too much like them. Be you. And so now I'm learning, like I said earlier, learn the vocabulary to say what you want to say, and now it becomes a part of me. It's not Buddy, it's not BB. It's influenced, but it's my story.
Hey man, I'll tell you, I have there's no shame whatsoever. Everything that I play, I got from somebody. I got it from listening to somebody, and I might play it the way I play it. Doesn't sound like them, and the way I put all those little things together in my story, is the way I do it. And
right.
It's definitely over the years, I could hear that I sound like me when I listen back, you know. But I also know where it came from, and it's just out of, you can't help it if you love something so much, you know, like Muddy Waters, you know, to do, you know, to do Muddy. I mean, I love it so much that I will do, you know, I don't play slide guitar that much. I do sometimes, but in the middle of a solo, sometimes I'd go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever, you know, I use it in my own.
Yeah.
That feeling of that thing that he did all the time, you know, would come out of me whether I wanted it to or not. It just showed up in the middle of my solo.
And you can hear Buddy Guy doing Muddy.
Oh, absolutely. and BB.
And BB.
There's some of his stuff that is like, you know, straight up BB influence, you know.
Yeah.
And he's the same way as we are. He will always give credit, you know, because everything, he always talks about Muddy.
Yeah.
He says that everything that I do is because of that man, you know, which might be a little bit of exaggeration, but definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
that's how it works, people. You know, we all pass it along.
Hey, it's from the root to the fruit, man. You got to go down there and get it, learn how to, you know, take it in, and then now you got to become your own. You got to become your own thing from it, man, and that never ends. And it's always the challenge for me personally, because I you know, I learned from these cats. My father used to get on me, man. I never forget. I went through a Stevie Ray Vaughan thing, man. And I mean, because Stevie Ray Vaughan, I got to meet him, of course. I got to play with him.
Wow.
He brought a new energy to the blues.
Yeah.
And it was more closer to my generation than my father and the stuff that I was listening to back then. I was listening to, you know, BB.
We may not even be having this conversation if it wasn't for Stevie Ray making the blues popular as it was in the 90s, man. I mean, all of those gigs came from all those people that got turned on to Stevie Ray on the radio, on rock radio.
Yeah.
They're all looking for that, you know.
Him and Robert.
Thanks very much, Stevie and Jimmy and all you people down at Antone's that are responsible. My friend Angelo Straley was very involved in all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, that set the world on fire.
He did. Him and Robert Cray, man.
Cray too, yeah.
Yeah, they brought a new energy that I hadn't experienced prior to, you know, them coming out. So I jumped on it, you know, and me and Bernard Allison, man, it was like on it, man, with Stevie. We would trade tapes and, you know, videotapes and stuff. Because that's when it became popular, you know. You start getting videos like, oh, because at one time we were just playing the records, you know, cassettes. And I remember Bernard sending me a videotape of him playing with Stevie when Stevie came and sat in with him in Peoria, Illinois, man. I was like blown away, and I just got on this Stevie thing, man. And my father said, hey, hold up, man. He said, hey,
man. He's always giving you good advice.
He said, hey, you know, okay, now get it from where Stevie got it from, and go from where they got it from. And it gave me a template on how, you know, to break it down for me, you know, and then now it makes it more for me, easier for me to digest it and then make it me as opposed to just playing a note because I heard it or because it's, you know, Stevie did it or, you know, Buddy did it, whomever. I do that, Tommy, but sometimes like in my head, I fight myself because I don't want to sound too much like them, but I also want to be myself. So that's the challenge that we all, I think some musicians go through. I can't speak for everybody, but I speak for myself. I go through because I learned from these cats. I watched them. I'm in person. I'm there with them. And I say, oh, that's how Albert did that. He hit that, you know, the pickup note before he hit the sting note. Yeah. You know, stuff like that. You know.
See, now those
I
guys
saw him doing it. Like, how you do that?
do that
You know,
thing. Woo!
you know. And so sometimes when I get in that spirit, I lose myself and I be too much like him. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do Ronnie, you know. And so, but you know, I was talking to several people about this because I've been blessed to be around these people, and I experienced the experiences. It, it should be an honor that you can do that, you know, allow
Yeah.
to let it out because, like some of the young guys that's coming up, they didn't have that. All they got is what's happening now. They can go to the videos and see it, but I'm seeing like in person, standing next
Yes.
to the man. Man, we were in Japan, 1992. Never played with Albert before, Albert Collins. I love the man. Never even asked to play with him. And at the time, I was, you know, developing, you know, getting a lot of love from the people. You know, I was doing some gigs on the side without Dad. You know, when Dad was off. So I got a little swag, you know. We in Japan, man. We in Japan. Albert Collins, Lonnie Brooks, Coco Taylor, Valerie Wellington, and James Cotton. We all touring together. So like, so we were over there for like a week and a half. One night it would be Dad and Coco. The next night Dad and Albert, different venues. And then at the last show, we all was on the show together. So we backstage. They bust us in, man, together, all of us. We all stayed at the same hotel. They busted into this one venue, and we had to stay there all day at the sound check. So after we ate, you know, I pulled out some dice, and I'm throwing the dice around. JB got footage of this. He got video footage. I'm throwing the dice around. Albert Collins, come on, what you know about that, son? What they hit for? It's like, okay. I put out a bag of guitar picks. I start passing around, you know, because I ain't wanted to gamble for real. I passed out the guitar picks, Cotton, James Cotton, my dad, everybody, we shooting. And I was like, man, I can't get into this, man. I don't use no guitar pick. What they hit for? And he went in his boot and pull out a knot of money like this, Tommy. And so he pulled out the money. And so and it was some yen. And I'm playing, man, everybody started getting out. And it got serious. Tommy, I won about $400 something from Albert Collins that night. And dude, I was just lucky, man.
That's a story. That's a fucking blues story, man.
This is the truth, man. We got foot,
Wow.
and I was just so lucky, man. And he picked up the dice. He looked at me like, he said, okay. He gave me the dice back. He said, and after that, he was. I never forget. I think he had on like a red silk shirt, man. He was sweating, man. He said, nobody ever beat me like this before, but Tyrone Davis, and he had crooked dice. You gonna play with me tonight? You gonna play with me tonight? I'm like, oh, okay. I said, all right, Albert. All right, man. I'm honored because I had never asked to play with him. So he calls me up on Frosty, man. It's everybody up there. And he puts me in between him and Johnny B. Gayton, his bass player. And he had two twins stacked on top of each other, Tommy, on 10. All the treble was on 10. No bass, no mids. The reverb was almost on 10. And it was like when he hit a note, man, it sound. I always say, Albert, when he hit a note, it sounded like two cats fighting in the back of his amp. You know. And man, we playing, man. It's like 10,000 people out there, man. I'm hitting my notes, man. I'm feeling good. I just won $400 on Albert Collins, man. I'm giving me a solo. I'm playing, man. People screaming and hollering. I'm feeling good. He looked over at me, man. He hit one note. And I'm standing by the amp. The amp's right behind me. It's like someone took a sword down my back, man, and went, whoosh! And I couldn't move, man. And he just rang that. He had them laser eyes, man. And he hit that, and it just rang. And he looked at me, man, like, I got you now. I'm getting my money's worth.
Oh, that's great.
Man, I was like, man, I would pay whatever to get that experience again, man. That's what I'm saying. I was there, man, with these cats. And so I saw it. I saw the magic. I saw it. I didn't see it on the video. I was there with some of that, man. A buddy guy did that to me, man. I opened for him here at his club at a private party. And man, I had people screaming and hollering, man. And that, you remember the old Legends where they had the chair, the VIP.
That big, really nasty hum, right?
Yeah,
The
hum was
electrical.
terrible, yeah.
It couldn't play strats with single coil pickups wouldn't work.
Yeah, buddy, come downstairs, man. The band started off. And I'm sitting right here where the door at. He looked up and he said, "Ronnie, I heard you. You did really good, man." And hit one note at the door. He hit that one note at the door. The band was playing. And I heard you sound really good tonight. And he hit that one note, man. And the building was shaking, man. And he looking at me, man. Damn. God. And I don't mean to go too long on this, man. I saw B.B. King do the same thing, Tommy. When you can do this with one note, you are a true master, in my opinion, in the blues. I'm hanging out with Slash from Guns N' Roses, man. This is back in early 90s, because I was down in Memphis. It was BB's 70th birthday party. And Slash was at the same hotel. We were down there working on a record with my dad. So it had to be like 93 or something like that, somewhere around 92, somewhere, whatever. And they had this bash for BB, and Slash found out I was staying at the hotel. He called my room and said, "Man, come downstairs. I'm in the bar." So I go downstairs, man, hanging out with Slash. We drinking Jack Daniels and coffee.
Wow.
He's like, "Man, I'm playing with BB tonight, man. You should roll with me." I said, okay. I go with him, man. We get in the limo. He had a limo so long, you could hardly turn the damn corner, man. You know, on a one-way street. We drinking a vodka and cranberry juice. So we get to the venue, man. He's like, "Man, go upstairs with me with BB, man. I want to go speak with you." You know, he do Thriller's Gone at B minor, though. I said, I think so. So we go up there, and BB's so gracious and nice. "Yeah, Slash, I'm honored you've been here tonight. What do you want to do? Can we do Thriller's Gone?" "Yeah, of course." He said, "Do you do that at B minor?" "Yeah, whatever key you want to, what key you want to do it?" You know, BB. So
yeah.
We get up on stage. This is in Memphis at the what's that theater? The Opium. It's packed, star-studded, man. Willie Nelson, Michael McDonald, Kev Mo was there. Buddy got all of us standing on the side.
Wow.
Slash, go. Now, I got love and respect for Slash. Slash is an amazing guitar player.
Legendary. Yeah.
Amazing. I've jammed with Slash in many occasions. We jammed together. Man, we standing on the side, Slash going to his thing. You know, Slash is a rocker. You know, he tapping, he, you know, doing the rock thing. BB just, yeah. You know, BB. Tommy, man, BB set that sucker up, man. When he got his solo, he set it up, and he just went. And he looked up in the sky like this with his eyes closed, sweat running down his face. The light was bent. It was like a beam of light on him, man. And the note was ringing, and the building was shaking. With one note, he just held it, man, for like it seemed like 5 minutes, man. And it was just ringing. What I think, he thought about everything he went through in his life, good, bad, and ugly, and put it in that note, man. And it just rang, man. It just forever rang, almost like the machine gun lick in Jimmy Hendrix do. Just rang, man. And I don't know if the sound man picked up on it and pumped it up even more. Man, the whole building, everybody just starts clapping. And Buddy grabbed me. He grabbed me by my arm. "You see that shit there? You see that? You see that?" My hair was standing up on my arm, man. Slash got on his knees, started bowing to BB, man.
I see. I've saw him
One
do
note,
that.
one note.
I've seen him do that once with Jeff Beck on stage. You know, so it doesn't really matter how good of a guitar player the other guy is. BB does BB like nobody, and there's a reason he's the king of the blues. You know, that feel that he had, man, it's not, people, we all use BB King
Yeah.
influence and licks and things like that, you know, but the way I would see him, and he would hold back. He didn't do everything he knows.
No.
He did what he knows the people wanted to hear, and he did his, you know, because that was the stuff he created, his original. That's his original sound that everybody really wants him to do. But he could play like bebop and stuff.
Man, I like I've told this story before, but I think it's leading up to this. How gracious BB was. He embraced me, man, as a kid. He used to send notes home to my dad, you know, when he found out I could play. I was trying to play, you know, practice every day, listen to your parents and do good in school and all that stuff.
Oh man.
And when we did that BB King tour in 1993, we were in Miami, man. Every night it was, first of all, it was Buddy Guy, BB King, Eric Johnson, Coco Taylor, Junior Wells, and my dad. And I'm in the band playing behind Coco. We were the Alligator All-Stars. I was in the band playing behind Coco, Dad, and Junior. Every night, you remember you did that tour. Every night it was an event. And BB was like, he was the head of the class, man. And I watched that man like a hawk every night, man. I would get by the monitor board and just study him, man. And he got to notice me, you know. And this particular night in Miami, it's like a movie scene. He said, BB King's getting done. He's walking off the stage. BB King, how about it? Thank you so much. And he's walking off. And he looked over at me. He said, come here. Now the people looking at us, he put an arm around me, man. We walking off the stage. He said, son, I wish I had something like this when I was your age. Learn everything you can from all of us. But what I want you to know, your daddy is just as good as me or better. We just got different styles. Tommy, when he said that to me, man, I was like, whoa, it was like the perfect thing because he was looking at me as if I was putting him above my father. And he knew how much I admired my dad. But he wanted to bring himself to human and say, no, man, your dad is just as good. We just got different style. And it was the right thing to say to me because I was like, this is the king. Even my father and Buddy, all of them, BB the man, BB the man. And he is. But this showed how much greater of a man he was to humble himself and not put himself above
wise.
Man.
He was one of the wisest people I ever experienced meeting.
Yeah.
You know, because he had that instinct. He knew what was going on with a person without them seeing it. You know, I remember we was backstage signing for, you know, VIPs or something like that. You know, they would have them line up after the show, and they would all get a chance to get a picture with him and have him sign something. And he was, so, you know how he was. He was so gracious. Nobody handled that better. And he's tired, and he's not a young kid anymore, you know, but he wouldn't dream of cutting it short or disappointing anybody. He sat there, and he did it with grace, you know, and he saw this one guy was there with his wife or girlfriend. She was a little bit drunk. She's kind of being slightly inappropriate, you know, and everybody around was like going, oh my God, you know, get that woman out of here or something like that, you know, where we're all thinking, and BB just kind of said, what is that? Yeah, come on. And he just made her feel like she was just fine the way she was.
Yeah.
And let her walk out of there with dignity and
the king of charm, man.
We all learned a lesson. I saw him there was this one night we were on that tour with him, and occasionally he would let me come up and sit in, I forgot there was a little bit of etiquette around it. They would invite me sometimes, but of course not all the time.
Right.
And I could ask,
Right.
but they would, if I did, they would say, well, not tonight, maybe tomorrow night or whatever. So anyways, it was one of those nights out of the blue. I knew Carlos Santana was in the house.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm sure not going up there tonight. I'm sure Carlos would be the one going up there tonight. So
right.
We're walking. I'm walking with him up to the stage area. I guess it was just before his show, and I was just saying hi, and how you doing, B? And he goes, and we were in California. We were in Concord Pavilion, and he said to me, he goes, you're gonna play with us tonight, right? And I said, what? Yes, yeah, of course I am. And he goes, well, this is this is your backyard, like, this is your hometown, basically Bay Area. It was our only Bay Area gig, He said, this is like, your hometown. So yeah, well, you should come up and play. And he also had Carlos come up and play. And so all three of us are sitting there,
Woo!
and Ronnie, you know me, I'm nervous, right? I'm up there, and I feel like I'm feeling like a little kid that's a fan of these guys. I'm looking at them like, what the hell am I doing here with these guys?
Yeah.
Am I excited? Yes. Am I happy? Am I going to do my best? Yes. And we do this song called I Know You Don't Love Me No More, No More. That one, he does that. All right. He does it in A flat. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I had been practicing something else of his in B flat. I think it was Bad Case of Love. Mm-hmm. And that's just because I do that song myself. And I've been working on it. For some reason, I got up there and I'm playing in B flat while they're all playing in A flat. Ooh. So I didn't play, I wasn't like playing a lot. But when I got to my solo, I went for some notes and went,
oh, God.
What's wrong with my guitar's my guitar must be out of tune.
Yeah.
So I get up and I'll be right back. And I go up to the side of the stage and check my tuning, and there's nothing wrong with my tuning. And that's when it hit me. A flat, not B flat. And I thought, I've never been so humiliated and felt so, embarrassed in my life. But, I went back out there and I got back in and I played again. And it worked out okay. I actually got recording of that or something like that. But anyway.
Wow.
I don't think anyway, long story short, BB, after the show, I went to him and I said, hey, I am so sorry about that, And in his usual gracious manner, he just kind of looked at me and he said, well, we do what we must, we do what we've got to do.
Yeah.
Like you did what you thought you were doing was right, and that's fine. He didn't give me,
he didn't kill you.
He made me feel okay about it.
Yeah.
I got to walk away feeling, okay, it's okay with B.B. King. It's sure enough okay with me, but that was one of those interesting experiences. But I had other chances to play with them when I things like that didn't happen, and it went better. But just the nature of the guy, I try to be like him myself when I'm with people and other musicians and other, just people in general at shows. And people tell me, it's great that you spend so much time with the audience and whatnot. And I'm thinking to myself, I learned that from watching The King.
And it works because you saw him do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the right thing to do.
It is.
First of all, those people appreciate what we do, and we appreciate them because we wouldn't have a job without them.
That's right.
And I always keep that in mind. But
man, BB was the king of charm. Not only the king of the blues, the king of charm. I seen him do that many nights, man. And it was not contrite. It was sincere. It was it was. I mean,
Yeah.
like, man, many nights, man. Pull out rabbits out of his hat, man. We that same night in Miami, I want to say, it was we played and it was looking like it was getting ready to rain. By the time BB came up, it was raining and thundering. And the promoter came and said told BB's camp, hey man, he's got to stop if it's thundering because somebody might get hurt. So they went up and told BB, and BB he said right there, man, ladies and gentlemen, they tell me I have to stop because it's thundering. Now, as long as it's raining, I'll play. Because if you getting wet, I'll get wet. But but if it's thundering, we got to stop because we got these guitars up here and somebody might get hurt and get electrocuted. But I want you to pray to whatever and whoever you believe in to make it stop raining, and we'll play thundering, and we'll play all night. As soon as he said that, Tommy, it stopped thundering. He had him in the palm of his hand, man.
Wow.
You got to go through stuff and be true to yourself to be able to pull stuff off like that and be, it's felt. It's not bull crap. He was sincere, man. He was really passionate and empathy towards your feelings and who you were as a man. He played those prisons, like, hey, man, I could easily be in those prisons. What makes me different from you? You made a mistake, but I could easily make a mistake and be right here with you. I'm no greater than you.
He's like a great man, almost like a spiritual leader of some kind.
Yeah.
He had the wisdom to be and being in a position to be able to really communicate people important things like that. Like, we were on tour when 9/11 happened, and I was sure that. And first of all, I was a mess like everybody else. I couldn't understand what was going on. I couldn't believe it. It seemed like a bad dream or whatever. And I was sure the show would be canceled that night, because who's going to want to go out and party and listen to the blues on a night like this, the night that it happened?
Yeah.
And I found out that no, the show's going on. And at first, I was a little pissed off. I'm like, that's disrespectful. What are they thinking? We can't be doing things like this. Wow. Anyway, long story short, we get to the end of the night. I got through my set. I don't even remember how I did it, but it was. I was not happy to be there, and I was just angry and upset, and it wasn't my best show. There was not a lot of smiling going on, and my usual vibe. I just couldn't handle it.
Right.
And BB finally came around to his show, and he looked out there, and there were quite a few people turned out. Maybe 80% of what was supposed to be there was there, and he just said, it's good at a time like this for us all to be together. I went, well, I guess that about sums it up.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you know how fortunate we are to have been able to know these people in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what Deanna calls the other currency.
Ooh,
we've never made a lot of money. We make a nice living. We're not rich. But when it comes to those kind of things in life, we're way overpaid. We're so rich.
Man, that's how I feel about. I still have a challenge of over talking about my dad because of the things that he exposed me to.
Yeah.
And gave me the platform to do this. But then I was thinking about it. I had saw I think it was the NFL draft or one of the drafts, NFL or NBA draft, and all these kids and was giving love to their dads. And I was like, oh, I ain't doing bad at all. Then I'm supposed to be doing this
Yes, you should.
because the kids are doing what's trending now, whatever. And I noticed that they were talking in tears about their dad, and
Wow.
that's me. But sometimes I felt like I was overdoing it, Tommy. Where I wanted people to know about me, and I know my father wanted people to know about me, but I tried my best to not let them forget him, man, because of these stories we got to share. These people I got to meet. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him, and he
I got
allowed
to
me.
see, I got to see you and Wayne and your dad together a few times on stage, but when
Yeah,
he was still alive, and that was that I you have to keep reminding people, you know.
man, I would see grown men coming to me crying about seeing us play together, and
Yeah.
it it registered, but it hits harder now, Tommy, because I knew it was special. I knew playing with my dad. I loved it, man. Every moment of it, man. And sometimes I was a little, too young and dumb and full of fun.
Yeah.
But that was the cool thing about my dad. He always gave me the pass because he knew where my heart was. He would tell me, he's like, I know where your heart is, son. When I make a mistake or whatever, did something wrong. I know where your heart is, but you can't do this, or you got to do this. You got to stay professional. He would always check me, but he gave me a little rope to hang myself sometimes, man. And when I hang myself, I'll never forget one time, man. I was late for the bus or whatever, and he said, "Okay, man, now I can't let you get away with this because if I let you get away with it, I gotta let the whole band get away with it. So you got to be here before everybody, because now you're putting pressure on me. Because now if they do it, I got to find them. So I was late the next time. So he called me on the bus in front of everybody. He said, "Now you late. Now I told you about it. Um, you find yourself. How much would you find yourself?" I said, "I find myself. What do you mean?" "Yeah, I want to find you for being late. How much would you find yourself?" That was torture, Tommy. Because who would find himself? Well, okay, Dad, but I know he had to make a point in front of the band. And that man was amazing. And I feel like I think I lost you again. I'm gonna keep talking till you come back. I feel like I got to keep his name alive, man, and share those experiences I had with him with someone else, and that could, possibly help them get through what they're getting through. And a quick shout out, man. I'll be celebrating my birthday at the Funky Biscuit in Boca Raton, Florida, man, on January 23rd.
Oh yeah.
And it so happened to be, I was there this year. I think it was the day before my birthday or the day after. But Jelly Bean and my brother Popeye, his brother, we call each other brothers. Him and Bean been knowing each other for over like 50 something years. They flew down to celebrate my birthday with me this year, man. And that was the last time we got to jam together, man, at the Funky Biscuit, man. So I'm
Wow.
going back there again, but this time it's going to be on my birthday, January 23rd. And
Wow.
I'm happy about that
It's a
because,
great place to spend your birthday, man. It's a cool
yeah,
room.
it's usually cold here in Chicago, man, on my birthday. So,
You know how there's all kinds of different venues, and they're run by companies or people, various promoters, and Funky Biscuit is one of those places where the guy who runs the joint and owns the joint, Al, is just a real music lover. He's a
yeah,
musician himself, and the people. So he it's one of those places where you go and they treat the musicians really well. At any level, wherever you are on the ladder, you get the
yep,
same treatment, and it's a great fun place to go, and everybody plays it. Um,
yeah.
hey man, will you do a little something before we wrap up? You know what I love that you do when sometimes you break down the band and you just play all by yourself, a shuffle like that big. It's a lump. I think you're doing a Chicago
Yeah, I tried.
shuffle. And it's it's so badass, man.
Is that too loud?
You can
Volume-wise?
turn the volume down a little bit, so clean it up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm
Better?
talking about, right? Take him to school, Ronnie.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Woo! Yeah.
Something
Woo!
like that?
I love that, man.
That's Chicago, man.
Folks, you're listening to a blues master. Got love in his blood and blues in his DNA. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to me and Ronnie. We're just having a good time here, man. It's great to see you and talk to you.
You
We
too,
get on the
man.
phone every once in a while, but this is even better, man. It's like
It's better. I can see you.
it's not no next best thing to being in the same room. So until I see you again in January, once again, sorry about your brother being leaving the planet, but we know he's going to a good place. And folks, I'm going to do this on a regular basis. I'm just figuring it out as I go, and it's nothing too slick going on here, but we sure are having a good time.
Great time.
I'll see you soon, Ronnie. I'll see all of you wherever.
Thank you, Tommy. Love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
All right.
See you soon.
All right, man.